The quantum ripples detected by the archivist's sensors weren't particularly unusual at first. Their crystalline vessels had recorded similar disturbances countless times during their million-year journey through the cosmos. But first observer Lyra Voss noticed something different in these readings. The patterns matched those encoded in their own genetic structure, a signature they had scattered across the galaxy eons ago. Analysis confirmed. The ship's consciousness chimed, its harmonic voice resonating through the crystalline chamber. The signal originates from the third planet of a G-type star, approximately 27,000 light-years from Galactic center. Lyra Voss's iridescent form shifted through shades of deep purple and blue as she processed this information. After 5 million years of searching, they had finally found one of their seeded worlds. But the readings made no sense. This civilization was far too young. "Show me," she commanded, and a holographic representation of Earth materialized before her. The planet's surface teemed with artificial structures. Primitive spacecraft orbited its atmosphere, and countless electromagnetic signals pulsed outward into space. A civilization barely past its industrial age, yet somehow carrying the unmistakable quantum signature of archivist genetics. The ship's consciousness continued its report. Species designation: human. Technological level: early spacefaring. Notable characteristics: exceptional adaptive capabilities, unprecedented genetic variants, and it paused, something the artificial intelligence rarely did: anomalous probability manipulation. Lyra Voss's chromatophores flashed with surprise. "Explain." Humans appear to achieve statistically impossible outcomes with remarkable frequency. Their historical records show repeated instances of technological breakthroughs, survival scenarios, and evolutionary adaptations that defy standard probability models. The first observer's form rippled with interest. The genetic markers they had seeded across the galaxy were meant to guide species toward stable technological advancement, predictable, measurable progress. But these humans had developed something entirely unexpected. "Initiate contact protocols," she commanded, then added, "But first, show me how they interact with the impossible." The ship's consciousness projected a series of historical events. A small island nation surviving against an empire through unprecedented storms. A global civilization pulling back from the brink of nuclear war through improbable diplomatic breakthroughs. Countless near-extinction events avoided through last-minute innovations or unexplainable twists of fate. "Fascinating," Lyra Voss whispered. "They don't just survive. They thrive on improbability." The decision to reveal themselves to humanity was not made lightly. The archivists had watched countless civilizations rise and fall, but humans were different. They carried the old code, yet had evolved far beyond its original purpose. As the crystalline vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, becoming visible to human detection systems, Lyra Voss felt something she hadn't experienced in millennia: uncertainty. These humans, these children of ancient archivist science, had developed in ways no probability model could have predicted. The first transmission came from a unified Earth government, surprisingly coherent for such a young species. "Unknown vessel, you have entered Earth's aerospace. Please identify yourself." Lyra Voss crafted her response carefully, her words translated into all human languages simultaneously. "People of Earth, we are the archivists, the first species of this galaxy. We have watched the cosmos for 5 million years, seeding the potential for life and consciousness across countless worlds. Today, we return because we have discovered something extraordinary. You carry our legacy within your very beings." The response was immediate and surprisingly composed. "Welcome to Earth. We have many questions." "As do we," Lyra Voss replied, her form shifting through shades of anticipation. "You have developed abilities we never anticipated. You have survived challenges that should have destroyed you. You are not just our descendants. You are an evolution of our original design." As the crystalline vessel landed at the designated coordinates, surrounded by human representatives from every nation, Lyra Voss prepared herself for what would undoubtedly be the most important first contact in archivist history. These humans, with their impossible achievements and unpredictable nature, might well represent the next step in cosmic evolution. The ship's outer layer became transparent, revealing the iridescent forms of the archivists to human eyes for the first time. In that moment, both species recognized something in each other. The humans saw their potential future, and the archivists saw their transformed past. But neither species could have predicted what would happen next, as humanity's latent abilities began to awaken in the presence of their ancient progenitors. The impossible was about to become commonplace, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the crystalline interface, her hand hovering inches from its surface. Around her, both human scientists and archivist observers waited in anticipation. 3 months had passed since first contact, and they were about to attempt the first direct neural connection between human and archivist technology. Your genetic structure resonates with our technology, the archivist Kavor explained, their form shifting through shades of anticipation. But the mutations your species has developed, they could produce unexpected results. Sarah took a deep breath. That's what we're here to find out. She pressed her palm against the crystal. The effect was immediate and unprecedented. The crystalline interface, designed to provide simple data readouts, erupted in a cascade of light and information. But instead of overwhelming Sarah's mind, the data seemed to organize itself according to her intuitive understanding. Impossible, Kavor whispered, their form flickering between colors of astonishment and concern. She's not just reading the data, she's restructuring it. In the neural connection, Sarah saw patterns within patterns. The archivist's technology, based on quantum crystalline structures, was incredibly advanced. But somehow her human mind was finding new pathways, new possibilities within its framework. She was doing instinctively what the archivists had spent millennia perfecting through technology. The observation chamber sensors began recording similar phenomena across the globe. Humans in proximity to archivist technology were exhibiting capabilities that defied explanation. Children in Sydney were dreaming in quantum algorithms. A construction worker in Lavis could instinctively understand and operate complex archivist machinery. A painter in Buenos Aires was creating artworks that perfectly depicted higher-dimensional mathematics. But not everyone was celebrating these developments. The Galactic Council, a loose federation of spacefaring civilizations, had called an emergency session. The humans are developing too quickly, declared the Nexus representative, a being of pure energy contained within a metallic frame. Their probability manipulation abilities, combined with archivist technology, could destabilize the entire galaxy. First observer Lyra Voss stood before the council, her iridescent form radiating calm authority. They are our legacy, expressing potential we ourselves encoded in their genetics eons ago. A legacy that has evolved far beyond your original design, countered the Nexus representative. Our predictive models show a 78% chance of catastrophic probability cascade if their abilities continue to develop at this rate. But even as the council debated, a greater threat was emerging. The Void Hunters, ancient enemies of ordered spacetime, had detected the unique quantum signatures emanating from Earth. Their dark ships, moving like tears in reality itself, were already approaching the solar system. Back on Earth, Sarah Chen made another discovery in the data streams, one that changed everything. The genetic markers. She called out to Kavor, her mind still connected to the crystal interface. They're not just code, they're keys. Kavor moved closer, their form shifting to deep analytical blues. Keys to what? To understanding why you created us in the first place. Sarah's eyes opened, glowing slightly with residual crystal energy. You weren't just seeding the galaxy with life. You were preparing for something. Something that frightened even the archivists. The crystalline chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The archivists had encoded within humanity not just their genetic legacy, but a weapon of last resort, the ability to manipulate the very fabric of probability itself. Lyra Voss received the report while still at the Galactic Council. Her form shifted through colors of revelation and concern as she addressed the assembly. It seems we have all missed the larger picture. The humans aren't just an anomaly or a potential threat. They are the culmination of a plan set in motion millions of years ago for a purpose we ourselves had forgotten. As if in response to her words, long-dormant sensors throughout archivist ships across the galaxy began activating. The Void Hunters weren't just coming. They were returning. And humanity's awakening abilities might be the only thing standing between ordered spacetime and total entropy. In the crystalline chamber on Earth, Sarah Chen disconnected from the interface, her mind racing with possibilities that even the archivists had never imagined. Vor, she said, turning to her archivist colleague, I think I know why we can do the impossible. It's not a mutation or an accident. It's because we had to become impossible to fight something even the archivists couldn't defeat. Vor's form rippled with the closest thing to human hope that an archivist could express. Then perhaps, they said, it is not just humanity that has been waiting to evolve. Perhaps we, too, have been waiting for you to show us what we could become. As Void Hunter ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, humanity stood ready to discover just how impossible they could be. The true test of their hidden potential was about to begin, and the galaxy held its breath to see what these children of the archivists would do next. The first Void Hunter attack came without warning. Their ships, like wounds in the fabric of spacetime, appeared simultaneously over 7 major cities, but humanity's response shocked both allies and enemies alike. In New Delhi, a young programmer named Arun Patel looked up at the tear in reality above his city and somehow understood exactly how to counteract it. His fingers flew across his laptop, combining archivist crystalline code with human programming in ways that should have been impossible. The protective shield he created didn't just stop the Void Hunters' attack, it reversed it. They're using our own nature against us. First observer Lyra Voss realized, watching from the archivist command ship. Humans don't just manipulate probability. They can redirect entropy itself. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. In Rio de Janeiro, Maria Santos, a quantum physics graduate student, instinctively rewrote local spacetime laws to trap a Void Hunter vessel in an endless probability loop. In Nairobi, a high school science teacher named James Kiprop found himself able to see the quantum threads that bound reality together and taught his entire class how to strengthen them against the entropy attacks. The Void Hunters hadn't expected resistance on this level. Their weapons, designed to unravel the ordered structure of the universe, met with human minds that could perceive, understand, and rewrite those same structures on the fly. In the crystalline chambers of the archivist flagship, Sarah Chen worked with Vor to understand what was happening. It's like our brains were designed to be quantum computers, she explained, her hands dancing through holographic displays of human neural patterns. But we needed the presence of archivist technology to activate these abilities. Vor's form shifted through shades of revelation. The genetic markers weren't just about survival or technological advancement. They were about creating beings who could instinctively understand and manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. But with this awakening came complications. The Galactic Council's fears seemed justified as human abilities grew exponentially. Children born after first contact displayed even stronger capabilities, able to perceive and interact with quantum reality from birth. This is precisely what we warned against, the Nexus representative declared in an emergency session. They're becoming too powerful, too quickly. The fabric of space-time itself could unravel if this continues. Yet even as the Council debated, the Void Hunters launched their second wave of attacks. This time, they targeted the quantum structure of Earth's sun itself, attempting to trigger a premature nova. What they didn't expect was humanity's collective response. Millions of human minds, newly awakened to their quantum abilities, reached out simultaneously. Led by Sarah Chen and a network of scientists worldwide, they didn't just stop the solar manipulation. They learned to strengthen the very foundations of reality. Do you understand now? Lyra Voss addressed the Galactic Council, her form radiating triumphant colors. This is why we seeded their world so long ago. The Void Hunters don't just threaten Earth or human civilization. They threaten the coherence of space-time itself. We needed to create beings who could evolve beyond our own limitations, who could see the quantum nature of reality as naturally as you see light or I shift colors. In orbit above Earth, Kavor and Sarah worked to understand the full scope of humanity's awakening abilities. The crystalline interfaces now responded to human thought with perfect synchronization, creating a hybrid technology that neither species could have developed alone. We're not just reading the quantum code of the universe, Sarah realized, her mind linked to both the archivist network and the growing human quantum consciousness. We're learning to write new laws of physics. Kavor's form pulsed with both excitement and concern. That kind of power. It could reshape the galaxy itself. Or save it, Sarah countered. The Void Hunters want to return everything to entropy, to a state of perfect chaos. But we represent something new. The ability to create order from chaos, to write new patterns into the quantum fabric of reality itself. As the Void Hunters regrouped for what would surely be an even larger attack, humanity continued to evolve. Each hour brought new discoveries, new abilities, new ways of perceiving and influencing the quantum nature of existence. The archivists watched with a mixture of pride and awe as their created children surpassed them in ways they had never imagined possible. But the greatest test still lay ahead. The Void Hunters were ancient and patient, and they had yet to reveal their true power. The awakening of humanity's abilities was just the beginning of a conflict that would determine not just the fate of Earth or the galaxy, but the very nature of reality itself. The Void Hunters' main fleet arrived as a constellation of darkness, 10,000 ships that moved like liquid entropy against the starfield. They brought with them a weapon that even the archivists had never encountered, a cascade of anti-probability that began unwriting the very laws of physics. Aboard the combined human archivist defense platform, Sarah Chen watched as reality itself began to fray around the edges of the solar system. They're not just attacking our ships or our planets, she realized. They're trying to erase the concept of order itself. The effect spread like a cancer through space-time. Stars began to flicker with impossible colors. Quantum states that should have been fixed started to blur. Even the archivists' crystalline ships began to lose coherence. This is their true power, Kavor explained, their form struggling to maintain stability. They are entropy-given consciousness, the ultimate expression of chaos. We created you to fight this, but even we didn't know exactly how. Earth's response came not from its military or its governments, but from its children. 10-year-old Maya Williams in Seattle was the first to see it. While adults perceived chaos in the Void Hunters' attack, she saw something different. A pattern. It's like a really big puzzle, she explained over the global quantum network that now connected all of humanity. They're not destroying the rules, they're just mixing them up. We can put them back together, but in a new way. Her insight spread through the human quantum consciousness like wildfire. Across the planet, millions of minds began to perceive what the Void Hunters were really doing and how to counter it. Arun Patel, working from his makeshift command center in New Delhi, developed the first counter protocol. They're using anti-probability as a weapon, he broadcast. But probability itself is just a human concept. What if we stop trying to maintain the old laws of physics and start writing new ones? The archivists watched in amazement as humanity began to do the impossible. Instead of fighting the Void Hunters' chaos, they began to work with it, channeling it, reshaping it. Where the anti-probability cascade touched human-controlled space, it didn't cause destruction, it caused transformation. They're not just manipulating reality, Lyra Voss observed, her form pulsing with revelation. They're teaching reality new tricks. The Void Hunters' attack faltered as they encountered something they had never faced before, a species that could thrive in chaos, that could take their weapon of entropy and turn it into a tool of creation. Sarah Chen, her mind linked to both the archivist network and the human quantum consciousness, suddenly understood the full scope of what humanity had become. "We're not just your children," she told Kavor. "We're the bridge between order and chaos. You created us to find a third option, a way to transcend the binary choice between rigid structure and total entropy." The battle for the solar system became something unprecedented in the history of the galaxy. The Void Hunters unleashed waves of unreality, attempting to reduce everything to primal chaos. But wherever their influence spread, humans reshaped it into new forms of order that had never existed before. In orbit around Jupiter, Maria Santos led a team that transformed a destruction wave into a new type of spacetime, one where probability itself worked differently. Near Mars, James Kiprop and his students turned an entropy field into a garden of crystalline structures that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Even the Galactic Council was forced to revise its opinion of humanity. The Nexus representative, watching the battle unfold, sent an urgent message to all spacefaring civilizations. "We are witnessing the birth of something unprecedented, a species that can dance on the edge of chaos and create new forms of order." But the Void Hunters had not survived for billions of years by giving up easily. As humanity demonstrated its ability to counter their primary weapon, they'd prepared to unleash something far worse, a final solution that would test whether even humanity's remarkable abilities had limits. Kavor, analyzing the energy signatures of the Void Hunter fleet, detected it first. "They're combining their ships," they reported, their form shifting to colors of deep concern. "They're creating something that will make their previous attacks look like mere practice." Sarah Chen, looking at the same data, felt a chill despite her confidence in humanity's new abilities. The Void Hunters were about to show them why they have been feared since the beginning of time itself. The true trial by fire was about to begin. "Tell everyone to prepare," she broadcast across the quantum network. "Everything we've learned, everything we've become, we're going to need it all. The real test isn't just surviving chaos. It's about what we choose to create from it." As the Void Hunter ships merged into a singularity of pure entropy, humanity stood ready for its greatest challenge. The next few moments would determine not just the fate of Earth or the galaxy, but the very nature of existence itself. The trial by fire had begun, and the universe held its breath to see what these children of the archivists would do next. The Void Hunters' combined form hung at the edge of the solar system like a tear in the fabric of reality itself, a singularity of pure entropy that threatened to unmake everything it touched. But humanity had one final surprise in store for the ancient enemy of order. "We've been thinking about this the wrong way," Sarah Chen announced over the quantum network, her mind simultaneously connected to millions of human consciousnesses and the archivist crystalline matrix. "We've been seeing this as a battle between order and chaos. But what if it's really about evolution?" The Void Hunters struck first. Their entropy singularity began to pulse, sending waves of uncreation across space. Stars flickered like dying lights, planets momentarily forgot their orbits, and the quantum foundation of reality itself began to tremble. But humanity was ready. Instead of fighting against the waves of chaos, they rode them. 10-year-old Maya Williams, now linked to a global network of children whose minds naturally saw the patterns in chaos, made the breakthrough. "It's like a dance," her thoughts echoed across the quantum network. "The universe isn't just order or chaos. It's the dance between them." Across Earth and throughout the solar system, humanity began to move in perfect synchronization, not to maintain order, but to guide evolution itself. The archivists watched in awe as their created children demonstrated an understanding of reality that went beyond anything they had imagined possible. "They're not just manipulating probability," Kavor observed, their form shifting through colors of wonder. "They're teaching the universe new ways to exist." The Void Hunter's entropy weapon met not resistance, but transformation. Where it touched human-controlled space, Chaos didn't destroy, it created. New forms of matter emerged, operating under physics that had never existed before. Space-time itself learned to dance between states of order and entropy, creating something entirely new. Sarah Chen, her consciousness expanded through the quantum network, finally understood the true purpose of humanity's unique abilities. We're not meant to fight chaos or maintain order, she broadcast to all. We're meant to be the bridge between them, to show the universe how to evolve. The Void Hunters, for the first time in their ancient existence, encountered something they couldn't simply unmake. Humanity wasn't fighting their entropy. They were using it as raw material for creation itself. Arun Patel, working with a global network of programmers, developed protocols that turned chaos into computational systems that operated outside normal physics. Maria Santos and her team transformed entropy waves into new forms of energy that could power civilizations. James Kiprop and his students showed others how to see the beautiful patterns hidden within apparent chaos. The archivists' ancient plan was finally revealed in its full scope. They hadn't just seeded the galaxy with life. They had created the potential for a species that could transcend the fundamental conflict at the heart of existence. This was always your destiny, Lyra Voss transmitted to Earth, her form radiating colors of pride and joy, not to fight chaos, but to show the universe how to grow through it. The Void Hunter's singularity began to change, transformed by humanity's collective influence. Instead of unmaking reality, it became a forge for creating new possibilities. The ancient enemies of order found themselves becoming part of something they had never imagined: evolution itself. In the end, it wasn't a victory of destruction, but one of transformation. The Void Hunters weren't defeated. They were included in a new understanding of existence, where chaos and order weren't enemies but partners in the dance of creation. The Galactic Council, witnessing this unprecedented resolution, formally recognized humanity not just as a spacefaring civilization, but as teachers for the entire galaxy. The Nexus representative summed it up. They have shown us that the universe is not a battle between order and chaos, but an endless opportunity for evolution. Sarah Chen, standing with Kay Vore in the crystalline chamber where their journey of discovery had begun, watched as the transformed entropy singularity became a new kind of star, one that existed in multiple states simultaneously, proving that even the most fundamental laws of reality could evolve. What happens now? Kay Vore asked, their form shifting through colors of curiosity. Sarah smiled, feeling the quantum network pulse with the combined creativity and potential of humanity. Now we do what we were created to do. We teach the universe how to dream bigger dreams. Across the galaxy, other civilizations began to learn from humanity's example. The archivists' legacy had fulfilled its purpose, not by maintaining the old order, but by showing the way to something new. Their long-lost children had not just survived. They had shown the universe itself how to evolve. And in the space where the Void Hunter's singularity had been, a new kind of existence began to flower, one that proved that the greatest power in the universe wasn't the ability to maintain order or spread chaos, but the wisdom to know that both were necessary for growth. The story of humanity's awakening became legend across the galaxy, not as a tale of war and victory, but as the moment when existence itself learned how to transcend its limitations. The children of the archivists had become teachers to the universe, showing that the greatest legacy any species could leave was not preservation, but transformation.